Oh, guys, good, you hear? I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
Before we start this podcast, let me invite you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or any podcaster. I'm such a cute. All right, everybody, quiet on the set. The Groomer Next Door, take one. To the audience. In 3, 2, 1. Action! And he is your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Sit down.
Hello, Pups and Kittens, and welcome to episode 119 of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me is the still reeling from St. Patrick's Day festivities, Sarah.
Hi. Yeah, that's a big negatory there. I'm not a very big St. Pat's fan.
Yeah, I think
most people that celebrate have no clue why. They have no clue why they are stuffing their mouths and their bellies full of beer. They don't know why they're getting in drunken brawls. Just that it's a beer drinking. Woo, I'm getting wasted. I have no clue why.
But I'm doing it. You don't need to have a reason to get wasted around here. That's a 365-day thing. Actually, here, this year, it'll be 366-day thing. Well, this episode kind of came about very quickly. We have other episodes lined up, and it seems like every time we're ready to go with that episode and talk about that subject, something else comes to mind and takes over.
Always. Every time.
Which is funny because, you know, I've always said, go back to early episodes, and Sarah's like, I don't know what we're going to talk about after, 10 episodes. And
when you firmly insert yourself into the
world,
the dog world, and you just don't let things come to you and you go and find things, it's easier.
Right.
But sometimes all you have to do is sit back and it just plop
right on your lap. No pun intended. So it's a feel-good story with a great deal going on. Now, if you're actually checking us out on our YouTube channel, you have a weird picture in front of you, a video. That dog is the star of this episode. If you're listening to us on iTunes or any other podcatcher, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But part of the album art this week features another one of those kind of, it's an odd picture, I guess you could say. You've seen this before in a sense, where you'll see a picture of a dog and puppies. I'll get to that story obviously later. I like to bury the lead. But if you're wondering,
if that's the main topic, then obviously you don't like to talk about it right away.
Right. But if you're looking at the YouTube going, well, this doesn't look like the grooming total video that we're normally used to watching, it's because this episode is dedicated to this particular dog. So with now explaining that, let's dive into the weekly roundup.
The weekly roundup, yeehaw.
Alright, this week on our weekly roundup, it was an extraordinarily busy week. I couldn't even tell you where to start with it, but
it felt like it went quickly.
It felt like it went quickly, but then on the other side I was like, oh my gosh, what a mountain to have to climb. I mean, I look back on the week and go, it was crazy.
You know what stood out? What stood out for me?
Good. And English is your first language? No.
What stood out to me? After a really super, super busy day at work, I go to sit down to play my Call of Duty, and the Call of Duty network was down.
Was that early in the week? Was that Monday?
Yeah, that was like Monday or Tuesday.
Wow.
I was like, oh, come on. It's very hard.
It never ceases to amaze me when you come home and you just want to decompress, and video games are our decompress time. We go at separate times to play games because that way we get alone time just for us and that opportunity. But it seems like something always comes up during that time. I thought that was actually last weekend. Wow. One thing that stood out for me is the fact that it happens on a frequent basis for us, that we're very fortunate. We're published in a newspaper for something that we've done. And completely humbled by it. To some degree, I'm actually shy. I mean, when asked about it by different people around town, I really get really shy. It's really hard for me to, talk about it. You would think that it would be easy considering, but it's not. Well, I get a message this week saying, "Hi, famous people," which we're far from. And I'm like, "Hi," and there was a picture attached, and it was a screenshot of a newspaper clipping, and it actually had in big letters talking about our rescue that we did back in January. And I was like, was that in today's paper? I have no idea. It turns out it had been in the paper last weekend, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it was in the paper and we did not know about it.
No clue.
I knew Debbie was writing one.
Yeah, I knew about the article as much as you did.
Nobody ever told me that it was accepted and they was going to go to print.
And that's how much we're in love with ourselves, or at least we're accused of being in love with ourselves, which obviously then we would be on top of this a lot more.
We do have a friend that works for the Rolla Daily newspaper, and every once in a while, when Claire was in the newspaper, we missed out on the actual paper itself, and we asked them if they had any extras or if he can scoop some up for me, and he got some and his wife brought them to us. Delane, she's like another mama to me. she's great people.
Yeah, she is awesome.
But she brought in a paper that was for Claire riding the fire truck.
Right. The paper that she brought in yesterday, was that this recent? Okay, that was the recent one? Okay.
That was the recent one where we took Mama Dog to Illinois.
Well, Tara Peters was the one who actually contacted me.
Right. And
I was so grateful. And I ran out to the convenience store and I went looking for it. And I guess it had been a few days prior. Luckily, though, we did get a copy of it because you want to.
Delane knew we would want one,
and she brought it to us.
I kind of figured you didn't get it, so here you go. I'm like, thank you. Well,
I think people who know us know that we're not, in love with ourselves. We're not vain. Everything that we're doing, like sitting here talking on a microphone, doing a podcast, is more. It's the best way of putting this is we're documenting the hard work that we're putting out there, the community outreach that we're doing, and we're hoping to inspire.
Right.
And, that can be misconstrued in so many different ways, but that's what we are.
Well, see, PCAWL needs to get more exposure. They are such a great group. They do so much with the little funds that they do receive, and they just need more. They need not just more funds, but more people. They need folks to volunteer. They need foster, people that want to foster. And fostering is something that's absolutely fabulous. It's
rewarding, but it's very sad at the same time.
Well, it depends on which way you look at it. If you're somebody who doesn't want to have a lifetime commitment, get a foster dog that they're trying hard to find a home for. You have to be able to stay during the duration, but if they're really pushing to find this one dog a home, you can foster it for a little bit, and the dog's going to find a home. That's what PCAWL needs. They need some fosters that are really willing to take hold of the pet for a while and continue on. And that's what we're looking at PCAWL with the letter to the newspaper. We're hoping that the newspaper gives enough exposure to PCAWL.
Right. And I'm hoping that does actually happen. It's still one of those things. It's still very difficult to actually know we're in the paper and in address. But I was very much supportive and appreciative to being able to actually be in the paper. I'm so excited about it. So thank you to Tara, thank you to Delane for, right away making sure that we got a copy of it, even though we were a week.
and thank you to Debbie, the secretary of PCAWL, for writing such a wonderful article. Her words flowed. I can't speak there.
Yeah, good timing to be on a microphone, right?
Well, it's everything going on around us.
Her verbiage in the article.
I'm talking like Claire right now. That's my problem.
Well, you're
everything she wrote had just a beautiful sound to it and really tugged at heartstrings. It was extremely important. So we really, really hope that PCAWL gets the recognition that they deserve.
And they deserved it for this. Well, let's move. Oh, wow. We have a second week in a row of dog food recall?
Dog food recall alert.
All right, this week we have a dog food recall that came out on March 18th, which I'm watching this on a daily basis. This thing just kind of came out of nowhere. The manufacturing is Fromm Family Foods. It's based out of Wisconsin, and they announced that they had a voluntary recall of 3 of their canned foods because they may contain elevated levels of vitamin D. That's a weird one. That's a rare one that you hear. They don't usually go with that. So let's go down the list of what they recalled. From Gold Chicken, the Pate dog food. That's a weird one. Is that pate? I bet that's pate. Pate. It's a 12-ounce can. The can code on it is number 11893. Individual cans UPCs are 72705 11892. So obviously for all of you who actually have bought this particular brand of dog food, this is definitely going to go out to all of you guys. For the rest of you, well, at least you're aware of it. The second can of food is the Gold Chicken and Duck. The can case code is number 11895. Individual can UPCs are 72705 11894. And lastly is the Fromm Gold Salmon and Chicken Pate. It is pate. As I looked at it, I was like, that is okay. Can code is 11891, and the individual UPC is 72705 11890. The affected product were shipped to distributors between December of 2015 and February of this year. So that gives you this week's dog food recall alert. And now on to GND News. Alright, this week we have 2 stories slated for your listening pleasure. One coming from San Diego, California. Real great story. Things that you would not expect to have happen. You know, a terrible scenario with a real happy ending. And the second story happened on Super Tuesday this past week, right here in Missouri. You don't like the word Super Tuesday, do you? No,
it's a story that's just...
Yeah, it's bothersome. It is bothersome. Yeah. So, with that said, let's go into San Diego, California, and join a reporter who is going to actually tell us a story. So, Claire, play that clip.
At sea for 5 weeks, everyone thought she was dead, but boy, were they wrong. Fox 5's Jamie Chambers is live with one local dog's incredible story of survival. Jamie.
That's exactly right, and the dog's owner is trying to get back into town as fast as he can to get his arms around his very best friend, but his partner in fishing was there to be there for Luna when she got back on the mainland, and she was about as thrilled as everyone else was. The story of a 4-legged survivor who beat the odds, then beat those odds as well. But it started with Luna falling off of her owner's fishing boat in the dark of night. And without any sound, her owner believed that she had been lost at sea.
I'm just speechless, really. There's not really any words that can explain it. Like, this is not a day that we thought would ever happen.
Back on mainland, safe and sound, Luna, the 1.5-year-old German Shepherd, is some kind of canine survival expert.
They drove around the entire island, like, multiple times.
After days of searching by water and plane, Luna was presumed lost at sea and given up for dead weeks ago. But just yesterday, something miraculous happened on San Clemente Island.
We're driving up the main road, spotted her, opened their car door and whistled, and in she jumped.
And just like that, Luna was in the caring hands of the naval conservationists.
Everyone on the island wanted to see her, have a picture with her. Everyone fell in love with her.
To think that 5 weeks had passed with Luna's owner, Nick, completely heartbroken, holding out hope, but also understanding that even if his dog made the 2-mile unthinkable swim to shore, that survival on San Clemente Island was nearly impossible anyway.
There's no standing fresh water on the island on a permanent basis.
But with the luck of the El Nino storms, puddles formed, and Luna survived off of that water, also eating dead seagulls, fish corpses, and rats.
We just have to thank the Navy, really. From Luna and her owner, Nick, and myself, and everyone that knows this dog. I mean, our deepest gratitude to them.
A tough, clever dog. So many pieces of weather had to come together to make sure that this dog survived. But Luna is safe. She is happy. She is healthy. She's a little bit more tired than usual, but that's to be expected. And certainly there's going to be reuniting in just a day or so when Nick gets back and they are back together for good. But everybody that we talked to said, hey, I'll adopt that dog. It is the sweetest dog right out there right now. So from Coronado, I'm Jamie Chambers. Kathleen, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right.
So, wow, 2.5 mile swim for that dog. Number one, was able to actually survive. I mean,
And 5 weeks later, and there's no actual fresh water.
I know, right?
And because of El Nino, I mean, she was able to survive. That was pretty cool.
Pretty amazing. And you know, for two people who actually have lived in California and have been through an El Nino, it does rain constantly. Being at San Diego, they do get a little bit more rain than, you know, Orange County does, but wow, I mean, that was just an amazing.
Well, to swim to an island
that alone,
has no water.
Yeah, well, to be able to actually make it, I mean, you know, you've been out there in the ocean. It is really choppy at times.
Well, I mean, to do this 2 mile swim,
Yep.
to get to an island that has absolutely no water on it,
And hardly any food.
yeah, and
I mean, resources had to go back to
able
primal.
survive on the rainfall from El Nino,
Yep.
and horrible dead animals.
I know. I was like, oh gosh. I mean, it shows how resourceful a dog can be when needed. Great story. You know, they're not the, hey, I'm used to living on my couch, I will never be able to live out in the world. Dogs can adjust in such a quick fashion. It's an amazing story. I just was so happy to actually get the outcome that it had. I was like, please don't be bad. Please don't be. Oh, thank God it's not bad. That was my big concern, because, you know, having, you know, these tragic stories, which are the only stories that are in the news.
Yeah.
You know, trying to keep the real sad out has been the hard part. Thoughts on this at all?
No, it's an amazing story.
All right, let's move on to Super Tuesday and something that happened right here in Missouri. So, Claire, play that clip.
One big loser this primary election day, a Grain Valley family. Their dog stolen from a polling place. The Hermans say Maximilian got loose and ran to the community of Christ Church next door where people were voting. Poll workers tell Fox 4 this 5-year-old Chihuahua was getting a closer look at people's ballots when a blonde woman in her 20s snatched the dog and took off. And it's not just Max's sister Callista and the family's 9-year-old daughter who are missing the dog tonight.
We're training them to be service dogs for my niece, who is severely autistic. And she has violent outbursts, and we give her the dogs, and she calms down right away. So it's a miracle.
The family is holding out hope. The person thought that the dog was a stray, but so far searches at area shelters and pounds have turned up empty.
All right, welcome to Missouri, folks. That's the best thing I can say. I mean, really?
Well, this can happen anywhere, but who does this? Come on. Well, for one, it wasn't like the dog was just tied up somewhere and someone came along and snatched it. The dog took off.
Right. It's bad enough. Missouri keeps getting a black eye after black eye after black eye. I mean, if it was in a drunken brawl, it would be on the floor, passed out at this point. With how much goes on in the news, it's like, enough, folks. You know, I want to ask the question: who sees a dog and goes, "Ooh, shiny," picks it up and walks away? I mean, come on, seriously?
Not even asking a question.
Not asking anybody. Not saying, "Hey, I found this dog wandering around. Do you know anything?" Or looking around. It's like, really, seriously. So, You know, the other part that's kind of frustrating is that there is no conclusion to this story. This is where it is. The dog is gone. It was stolen.
Hopefully they're able to get it returned or
Hopefully.
something.
But, you know, biggest thing is, you know, if you're gonna have your dog with you, have it on a leash. Make sure it's by you.
Try to, before you go out anywhere, try to teach it how to stay with you before you take that journey out in public. I guess. I mean,
you know, it's how do we give, you know, advice to people having a dog to not be stolen that shouldn't be stolen?
Stuff happens. Sometimes the dog gets away.
But
that happens. So it's not really their fault.
I don't blame the people. Yeah, I'm not blaming the people that own the dog. I'm blaming the person who stole the dog. Going, you're an idiot.
Like,
Yeah, right. SMH. That's it. All right. Well, with that said, that concludes this week's edition of GND News.
Alrighty, folks, put your paws together for Guess the Breed. Guess the Breed. With your host, Chris Green.
Hello, contestant, and welcome back to the Guess the Breed stage.
Take two.
I like the woohoo to go with it, though. Woo-hoo. There it is. This week, we actually will highlight Thomas Jefferson. He is going to be our person of choice, going back in history.
Who is he?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it seems like lately with all the presidential.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand what happened.
Yeah, let's not look back on the past, right? Let's look forward. Let's forget. Yeah. Well, because of Super Tuesday, I thought, you know what, we're going to highlight a past president during the golden years, I guess you could say. This president is Thomas Jefferson, as I said. He was the third president of the United States.
Ooh, the future.
He was in office from March 4th of 1801 to March 4th, 1809. So he had a two-term. Ooh. He preceded John Adams, and he succeeded James Madison. Let's see. This particular dog was, you know, for starters, let me start off by telling everybody, do some research on this. It is actually quite a unique story. I'm not going to go into the whole story of how he ended up with this dog, because that was going to take a long time. This isn't a history lesson. But I did find it very interesting reading all about it and how he chose this dog. So, and to think that, just to read about a life at that stage, you know, we're talking, 116 years ago, a long time.
Do the math.
Yeah, do the math in my head, right? All right. So, contestant, are you ready?
Yo.
All right. The country of origin for this particular dog is France.
Chihuahua.
No, they are not from France, by the way. The height for the male is, the weight for the male is 66 to 88 pounds for male. Female is 55 to 77 pounds. The height, 24 to 27 inches for male. For the female is 23 to 26 inches. The coat is long and slightly wavy. Colors are uniform black, fawn, or gray. Lifespan is 10 to 12 years. This breed is an ancient breed of large herding dog, originally from France. The blank dog appears in Gaston Phoebus, Livre de Chasse, Book of the Hunt, written in the 14th century according to legend. Any ideas?
The Pekingese.
Is that really your answer?
No.
Okay, I was like, wait, are you really going to say that? Is that really your answer?
No. Well, obviously it's some kind of sheepdog. It's an ancient breed. You realize I'm not very good with my ancient breeds?
Well, yeah. Let's see, an average its owners are, let's see, Charlemagne, Napoleon, Thomas Jefferson. They're all said to have owned blank. It becomes popular after the Paris Dog Show of 1863. So that's how this dog actually became famous, was a dog show in 1863. During the First World War, the blank was used almost to point of extinction by the French army as a sentry messenger and to search for wounded soldiers. The blank modern dog roles include police, military, search and rescue work, as well as a companion dog.
I got a sheepdog, but that's it. I have no clue.
Well, you got you're right on sheepdog. I'm not.
Well, I know it's some kind of sheepdog. I do. I just don't know which one.
Take a wild shot.
No, I'm not going to do that because then I'm going to sound stupid.
No, there is none.
Nope.
So you're just gonna give up.
Yep, I say sheepdog.
Well, you're right on sheepdog.
Right. So I'm right. It's a sheepdog.
You're not, but there's a specific type.
Well, you're not asking for the specific type.
I'm asking for a specific
what
type.
What kind of dog? It's a sheepdog.
Judges.
You get nothing. You lose.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was an incomplete answer, so unfortunately you voided it. It is a Briard? I was afraid of actually saying the name wrong, but Briard?
Briard? I don't know.
Yeah, B-R-I-A-R-D.
Why do you have a dog that you can't even pronounce?
Well, because I'm just the host. If you look at any other host of any other show, they have no brains either. They just read the card. And thank you for playing Guess the Breed.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your paws together for a main topic.
Alright, this is our main topic, everything all of you have all been waiting for. Well, as I mentioned in the top of the show, we actually were very lucky this week to be able...
We're at it again.
Yeah, we're at it again. Just after being in the paper for rescuing that one mama dog and her 9 puppies, we did it again this week, folks. This week we actually ended up rescuing another mama dog. Different story though. Major different story. We rescued her and her brand new 8 puppies. Now, I'm going to turn this over to you so you can give the full detail of how this all came about, and we'll tell you the story of what it went. So, Sarah, take it.
Alright, so I saw a post on Facebook not too long ago about a dog wandering loose on a particular street out here. And it had a collar on. Craig thought there was tags, but no one mentioned tags itself. So Craig lives right there. His family owns the entire property, and he takes their private road all the way to work. How nice is that? Anyhow,
I would pass on taking that private road.
Yeah. Potholes and oh my gosh, it's scary. So, anywho, we asked Craig to kind of keep an eye on her because she's not going to come to us unless she's hungry or if she's already had her puppies, because everybody says she's real big and she looks very pregnant. So if we kept an eye on it, we can find out when her gestational, period is and be able to hone in on when she has her babies. So Craig says she has been staying around this one area, and it's been pretty focused. So we know she's not running off to other places, that she's picked this one particular spot to be her home. Craig drove by, saw her big and fat, and then the next day he drove by and saw her really skinny. Craig let me know about this, and I was like, okay, well, we gotta go and do something. That day we left work to go out to this area, and it used to be his aunt's house. We searched around the property, and then there she was. She was right there. As we pulled up, she was right there. She didn't want to go very far from the house that was there. She kept keeping an eye on us, and every time we tried to get close to give her food, she either barked and took off or was growling at us. but she didn't want to leave this house. And I looked at her, and she was skinny. She was sucked in.
Well, before we found out it was the house, we had acres and acres and acres
of land that she could be anywhere.
Right. And so we didn't know it was the house. We just knew that she was in the area. So we were up in all the weeds and everything, looking everywhere in areas, wooded areas, seeing if we would find shade, any kind of place a puppy could have, like a shed.
Yeah, we looked at all the sheds that were there, absolutely empty. We got permission from Craig's uncle to enter the property. Problem is, I didn't know we were able to actually enter the house. The problem with this house that was on this set of land is that it was rented out, and the people who were renting the house prior were cooking meth in the garage. Well, it exploded, and
just like meth does.
Yep, it exploded right in the garage, burnt up a big, huge hole in the roof. And this was a nice looking house too. Oh my gosh, it was devastating what this did to it, and just gorgeous house. You thought she buried herself underneath the shed, and that would be a good idea.
Okay, but she went behind the shed, and I was tracking her. I went back there. There was no way for her to get away from there. She got away, and how, I have no idea. There was a creek down there. There was ways of going around. There was no way, and then you could see that there had been ways that you could dig. Something dug under the shed. So I'm like, well, that's the only idea.
Mm-hmm. And we came armed with lunch meat and dog food. We threw some lunch meat around there, hoping we'd just see her little nose pop out and take it, so we know where she's at, and eventually be able to coerce her out and do what we need to get the pups. With her just disappearing on us.
Yeah, she did a Houdini. I mean, it was crazy.
And we don't know what kind of dog we're dealing with here. It was just you and me armed with lunch meat and leads. People thought that she was a pit bull, and that doesn't scare us.
Nope.
You say pit bull, Rottweiler, Doberman Pinscher. It doesn't bother us. But she looked a little smaller in size. But anywho, we thought she was a pit bull. And how she got around you is beyond me.
I have no idea, because I'm pretty good at seeing everything around me, and there was no way she got around me, and she did.
So we venture off back to the house to look around, and we looked inside the busted windows and the caved-in doors and the pushed-in doors area right where the fire originally started a couple years back. I don't see anything.
Right.
You go to the front where the door's been kicked in. The garage door, because it had the actual electric garage door,
right,
and an actual door, and then the front door.
Yeah, and there's windows in that actually overlook, which is weird how it's made up. But as you look in the front windows, to the left is the kitchen, which I thought was weird.
Yeah,
kitchen's there, and then you can look straight ahead, and there's kind of a sloping down area where would have been a living room. And
no, I'm still talking about the garage here.
Oh, okay.
We're still talking about the garage.
I thought we were just kind of
no.
Okay.
So you go to the front, and you're like, oh, there she is.
Yeah.
So was she just standing there staring at you?
Yeah, what had happened was I actually looked in the window. There was a window on the side of the garage before I looked in the front. I looked in the side window, which was broken. And she walks down the stairs, these like two stairs.
Like 2 steps, yeah.
Yeah, that go from garage to house.
Yeah, because this house wasn't level, it wasn't flat.
Yeah, no.
It had different...
So many layers, yeah, so many levels to it. It was weird. For a 1-story house, it had many levels. Yeah, she just kind of walks out, and it was an eerie walkout. Like, hi, this is my house. Can I help you?
Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, what do you? It was very human-like.
And she was very protective of her area.
Yes. Well, it's just like a human would walk out. Excuse me, what are you looking in my window?
Yeah, and we were worried that she didn't have her pups just yet, since we couldn't get a good look at her.
Yeah.
If we were to enter the property, she might have taken off on us through another escape route, and then had her puppies somewhere else that wasn't safe.
Right.
So we had to be careful here.
And at this point, something that we have to mention is that this is a rural park. So what that means is that it's out of county lines. How that works is that animal control cannot actually come out and assist because they only can work within the county lines.
You'd have to call the sheriffs, and the sheriffs would have to do something.
And at that point, you don't really want to mess too much because it's not that they won't help you, it's that there's nothing they can do. So you kind of have to act on the fact that, okay, you've got an emergency situation, and it is an emergency dire situation.
Right.
So, go on.
So we figured it wasn't a good idea to pursue any more than right now, especially since we didn't know if it was okay for us to enter the property. I didn't know if it was safe enough because if you looked up in the roof and the ceiling, it was all charred wood. Wood busted in. I mean, it's been like this for 2 winters, so that means all the rain we've had, all the flooding we've had, all the snow that we've had have all melted in there and have gotten that wood wet.
And you also have full of debris.
Exactly, and you don't know when the house was built, so you don't know if there's even asbestos.
That's true, yeah. That is
so
true.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. Did you want to go to Craig?
No.
Oh, you want to keep going? Okay.
So what we did is that we put some food in a dog bowl, and we put it into the entrance of the garage.
Right.
And just left it there because no matter what, she's gonna want food and she needs it. And then we took off home because that was at the end of our day.
Yeah, sun was setting, and you didn't want to be out there any later because once it gets dark there's no lights.
Exactly. Next day comes around, Craig lets us know that the bowl isn't there anymore when he went home from work. So we knew she was hungry and she needed it. There's nowhere to get food. There's a dog factory down the way that Royal Canin makes their dog food down the way. So the whole area constantly smells like dog food. Can you imagine living somewhere where it constantly smells like food and you can't eat it?
Yeah,
because you can't have it?
That would be difficult, especially for a dog who has heightened sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like sitting right there at McDonald's when you haven't eaten in 3 days.
Yeah.
And you're just smelling those fries.
Right.
It's just not, it can't be pleasant.
Now we also have another factor coming into the equation right now. It's at this point
we had good weather.
We had good weather up to Wednesday, and then it was going to start to get cold
and get colder to today, which is really cold.
Last night was freezing.
Yeah. I think we had flurries last night.
We had flurries. We were still above freezing, but we were in the 30s, so it was definitely dangerous. Cold. Yeah.
So we went back over there and I told Craig, would you please meet us there? I would feel much better if you and I if we can just go together. And he said yes. He got off work early and we went on our lunch break. So he was in the area, we were in the area. We just so happened to have somebody cancel for dog grooming. It gave us just enough opening to go and do this. We loaded up with dog food, dry dog food, and our leads. And we met Craig at the house. I wasn't there for Craig's interview that you did with him, so is this a good time to insert his interview?
Yeah, let's dive into Craig's interview. So Claire, play Craig's clip. Hey Craig Hall. Well, this is the beginning story of how Momma Dog was located, told to you by Craig Hall himself. So with that said, go ahead.
I have seen Momma Dog. The first time I saw Momma Dog was at least three to 3.5 weeks ago, I want to say. I got off of work. I seen her roaming around my area. And she looked pretty big. So I wasn't sure if she was pregnant or not. Because honestly, I can't really tell dogs when they're pregnant.
Well, it was far away, right?
Yeah, it was pretty far away.
Okay. Where was she located?
She was located on a private drive. She was just roaming around. I did try to get her close to me because I did have some food in my truck. But she just took off. Did not like me at all. Tail between the legs and just took off. But, of course, I mean, dogs are like that because they are scared.
Right. You don't know her backstory, so you don't know, she was abused, neglected, dumped. You don't know, so
yeah.
That's understandable. Okay. So, the house. Tell us about the house.
The house halfway burnt. It was, I want to say, burnt at least two years ago by renters. So apparently she must have been living there because she always stayed around my area where I lived, and I just lived like right down the road. So I've always seen her every time I went to work, came from work, gone home, and I have tried a couple times to get her close, see if I'm trying to catch her for Sarah Green. Since she worked for PCAWL.
Okay, so then fast forward to, what was it, yesterday or last weekend when you told Sarah?
Yeah, I want to say last week, maybe on Thursday, I've taken a picture of her that she was super skinny.
Right, emaciated.
Yeah. So I assume she probably had the puppies, and I have told Sarah Green about it. And that's when Sarah Green went into her
combat mode.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, yesterday, we'll tell probably we've already told the story about what happened, or we're going to tell the story, I should say, because obviously we're recording this day that we actually was able to catch Mama Dog. So today, now yesterday, let's go back to yesterday. Yesterday, we first made contact with the dog. We found out where she was located, which you didn't know at the time. You didn't know where she was at because the area is so vast, you can't really tell where she could be because a lot of brush, a lot of areas.
Yep.
All right, so fast forward to today, we go out to the house, and what was your initial reaction when you saw everything?
My initial reaction was I was kind of a little worried because I didn't think she actually had the puppies.
None of us did. We couldn't find it in this house. Now, the house is littered with
trash.
Trash, belongings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost the site that I would give it as almost a horror picture.
Yeah.
You could really film a horror movie in there, and even at that, it would still be pretty scary.
Yeah, because it had a mannequin in there that scared somebody.
It scared me. Yep, it scared me half to death yesterday. But that was because I didn't expect it there, and it looked like a person was coming out of nowhere. That was kind of scary. But when we walked in the house, you were the one who heard it was Sarah. You heard where the puppies were.
Yep.
Which was in the living room. Now, is the roof collapsed there or just in the garage?
It's kind of like half and half.
Okay.
Because I assume the fire actually started in the garage.
Right.
And then spread towards the living room, but luckily it didn't go all the way. So luckily the puppies and the mama had protection from the rain and snow and whatnot.
We have a cat right here in the studio all of a sudden. Thank you, Laura, for that. Now this weekend it's going to dip down extremely low temperatures. Now the puppies are at this point probably up to 3 days old in rough estimation. Now it's Wednesday, so she had the puppies within Sunday, Monday is how old these dogs would be. So they're brand new puppies, not able to fight off any kind of inclement weather. So obviously we had to act fast or we would have lost everyone. Maybe not the mother dog, but we would have lost all the puppies. So being able to go in there, you saw what Sarah was doing. We'll tell the story in a second how that was, but what was your reaction when we actually found the dog, you found the puppies, and you were doing your part of making sure she didn't bolt out the side door?
I was super excited because I can't believe there were 8 puppies that she had.
Which is still a puppy shy of our last count, which is kind of surprising. I mean, yeah. So you're making sure that the mama dog doesn't bolt out.
Right.
Was it nerve-wracking?
A little bit, yes. Because I had nothing to block her from running out of the house. And
in this case, I mean, you've never seen her out of the perimeter. I mean, probably 100 yards in any direction, she doesn't leave that area, ever.
Correct.
And you've seen her more recently than before. Would that be a good assumption?
Oh, yes.
So it was probably towards her last trimester that she was trying to find a good place to go. And hard to actually understand how she found any kind of food. Besides the dog food plant that's there, but even at that, I don't know if she can actually find food.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way unless people who come on this private road tend to throw their trash onto the gravel road, so she probably was able to maybe find some McDonald's or Taco Bell.
Not sponsors of this podcast, but we'd like them to be.
Yeah, so luckily, even though it's bad for the environment, people do tend to throw their leftover food out the window.
Brought to you by Tree Hugging Craig Hall. Thank you.
Yes.
Just want to make sure we keep it campaign friendly.
Right.
Anything else you want to add to this story?
No, but I do hope that Sarah and Chris tend to find a good home for the puppies and the mama dog, and hopefully she lives a good, happy life.
Well, I know we're going to be fostering, and PCAWL will be taking over a lot of the financials. Hey, Laura, you have anything you want to put into this? She really loves puppies, is what she said. If you didn't want to be on a podcast, you shouldn't have come into a podcast studio. I'm just saying. She always gets shy with the mic around, so she hides.
Yes, she does.
Thank you, Craig, and it was a lot of fun to see you in action today.
Oh, thank you.
So that was Craig actually telling us, kind of reaffirming some of the things that we had already said, but telling his side of how he experienced it.
So when we get there, we're ready to do this. We look and find out where are all the exit points where she can bolt out. Because one thing you don't want to do is if she had her puppies already, you don't want to force her out and then all of a sudden you're left with puppies that need to get fed.
Right.
So you definitely have to worry about frightening her.
Right.
You gotta worry about mama dog protecting her babies and biting.
Attacking,
Yeah, you don't know where she's been, what she's done, what she's infected with.
Right.
All these factors come racing in your head. Craig stood at one exit, and you stood at another.
Right. Well, before that, we saw Mama Dog. She had taken the bowl that we had left at the garage door, and she took it in her mouth and walked it into the house.
Oh yeah, she pulled it in so no one saw her eating.
Right. So she was able to isolate herself in the house and protect.
And was able to feed in peace.
Right. You went to the living room where I initially, made contact. I saw she was there.
And I said, was it Craig on the other end said, oh, there she is?
No. Craig was going into the garage through another door. You and I had made first contact with her.
Okay.
You're talking to her. I decided to go to look in the rooms because the house is completely filled with furniture, debris, and everything all over the floors and everywhere
Storage
else.
And stuff like that too.
So I went looking. You're talking to her, trying to get her attention, calm her down, stuff like that.
She's barking and she's barking. Her hair is standing straight up on end, and with her loudness, I couldn't hear for puppies.
Right.
While you're looking in the room, I'm just trying to get her to stop barking so I can hear something. I put food down, she came up, and as she's barking, she's eating. I felt bad for this little girl. She, you can tell, was starved. And that can work in our favor. She's still hungry, she's going to come straight to us. Versus, hey, you know what? I've had food. I can go a day or two without it, so get the F back.
Yeah, she could have been more defensive if she had a full belly.
Yeah, if she would have ate as much as she should have.
Yeah, it might have been. Now, the weird part was the location, how you actually made contact. I remember Craig had heard it, you heard it. She had kind of calmed down slightly.
Well, she calmed down slightly. Her barking wasn't as persistent. It slowed down. I said, screw this. I got up out of the kitchen area, stepped down a couple stairs to where would be a living area.
Yeah.
And I get pretty close. And I put the bowl down and I'm like, please, Lord, don't let it bite me.
Yeah, you got gutsy. You got gutsy.
I walked back a little bit and then her barking slowed down. It wasn't as frequent. And she went over and had a couple bites of her food. And Craig yelled out, "Hey, be quiet!" So we all three of us just shut up. and Craig heard one little teeny tiny grunt coming from one of the puppies. So we're looking. I'm looking under this burnt up, flipped over couch where she could have hid underneath and had the puppies there. Craig was looking over where he was because I told him, Craig, whatever you do, do not let her leave. I said, you leap in front of her to make sure she doesn't leave.
And as you heard in the clip, he was like, I had a broken up piece of
dry sheet.
Yeah, that was crumbling in my hands. So he was panicking. He was panicking.
He's never done anything like this before. Well, so he goes, oh wait, I see him right there. Sarah, they're right there. And he starts counting them off. There's 8 of them. I'm like, sweet. We got Mama Dog and Puppy. We were so close to saving these guys.
We know for a fact that she's in the house. We've made contact with her, and we now know that there are 8 live puppies. So now it becomes even more imperative that we get these dogs and get them out and fast.
So it's kind of funny. It's like right at this point in time, I still thought she was pretty big. You know, she was a nice sized dog. I get closer. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. Wounds heal. Is basically what I was thinking. If she bites me, it will heal. I'll be fine. And I get over there and I kind of dangle my lead in front of her. Dangling your lead in front of a dog that you don't know if they're aggressive or not will show either they will bite the lead and let go. They'll bite the lead and take it from you. That's the highest form of aggression. You're going to get bit, or they're just going to let it hit them and just bark for a facade. So finally, she let it go. She wasn't going to do anything to it, and she's still barking.
It seemed like at that point, the exhaustion and hunger must have really kicked in at that point.
She's still trying to protect her puppy. She's
pressed.
The puppies were underneath drywall that was leaned up against the actual wall itself. Well, she started stepping on it, and that freaked me out because that could have caved in at any point and landed on the puppies. So I lassoed her up and tried to get her to come with me, and she didn't want to. So
you sat down next to her.
I pulled on her and I got her out.
But you sat down next to her. And I thought you sat down.
No, I got her I got her lassoed. I pulled her out, and my problem was I'm worried about the puppies getting cold.
Yeah. So
I handed her to you. I handed the lead to you and said, take her.
Yep. I took her out. I took her out of the house. And, you know, what was funny is, and this is from my vantage point, I know that you and Craig now are going to go in there and get all the puppies out. And I've got her. As I'm walking her out, she's at the beginning kind of resisting. But then she starts walking with me as if she was just a normal dog that had been with us for a while. And as she's walking out with me, she's got her head turned back towards where you're at, looking at the puppies,
wants to see the puppies.
But you would think at that point, when she sees now that you're over there where the puppies are at, you would think that would have changed something, like that would have triggered something. And it didn't.
Yeah, I would expect her to go more ballistic.
That's what I was waiting for.
Trying to get to her puppies.
I was waiting for that.
Once you get her outside, Craig came in. I told Craig, I said, I need something to put these dogs in. And there was a laundry basket there.
Ow, sorry.
You're okay. And I said to Craig, I said, can you get me something to put in this laundry basket? These puppies were so small, they were going to fall right out the little holes on the side of the laundry basket. Craig spun into action, did what he needed to do, and got what I needed. And I picked them up. They were so tiny. Their eyes are all closed. Their ears are closed. I looked at their belly buttons and where the umbilical cord was, and it is still barely scabbed over. So that tells me that these dogs are a day or 2 old.
Right.
2 days at the very most old.
So that would have put it to Sunday, Monday, one of those days that these puppies were born. Now it's Wednesday, so we're talking days. Now, again, Monday was a very warm day. It was exceedingly warm that day. Tuesday was, actually it was Tuesday that was exceedingly warm. Monday was warm.
Yeah, we've had fantastic weather.
Up until Wednesday, that's when it was the little tilt. The tilt was on Wednesday because Wednesday night got down to cold. Not chilly, but cool. Then it got cold and colder.
Right.
So we knew this though. We knew this.
We knew it was going to happen. That's why we did what we did as quickly as we did, because we knew these puppies had to be found before the weekend.
Right. Well,
there was just no way around it. We had to get Mama either still pregnant, and we're going to have to deal with her birthing process at our home, or we're going to find Mama and the babies and get them taken care of. Right. So time was of the essence.
Oh yeah,
they could have probably lasted one more day.
Maybe, yeah. But
and then the next night, no.
Yeah, no.
And then tonight, definitely not.
Yeah, well then that's the big problem. You have a mama dog who is, she was emaciated for sure.
Oh, she was so malnourished. We're trying so hard, which means I gotta go pick up soft canned food. I forgot. So
I'll remember it.
Walmart list.
But we knew that there was a lot of deciding factors here. We knew that the house, there was too many dangers in the house.
Yeah, so
we knew that the weather was a danger.
We had to get this done.
Yeah, it was imperative. And I don't even know if waiting another day would have been smart, because all we know.
Push comes to shove, they could have lasted.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but
it was if we're going to get rain or something. They were threatening for rain. But anywho, we get the puppies in the basket, and my sight that I saw when I came out of the house. Climbing over some of the debris and the burnt stuff. I look out and here's Mama.
I'm sitting next to her.
You're sitting next to her. Mama's calm. Her tail's in between her legs.
Yeah.
She's got debris all over her from the afterbirth. So that right there reaffirms it's only been a day or two that these puppies have been alive, because the afterbirth was still on the puppy or on the mom. And I was like, here's your puppies, Mama, here's your puppies. And she sniffs, and she just looks up at me like, okay.
Yep, we walk to the car, and again, all I have is a slip lead on her. She couldn't get away, obviously, but we're walking, and she's walking with me with, our own personal dogs don't even walk this perfect on a leash.
Right.
That's how crazy it was.
So we're like, we need to get them in the back of the SUV. So we open the hatch, and you look at me like, how are you going to do this? We don't want her loose because some bad things can happen.
I knew there was really only one option, and I knew what the option was. I think.
And I wasn't going to ask you for it.
Yeah, we knew what the options were.
Pretty good. And so Chris comes up with this great idea. Hey, I'm going to sit in the back. I'll get Mama Dog in here. Put the puppies here.
Yeah, put the puppies in first. I'll pick her up.
You drive us back to work.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yep.
So
it's nice having an SUV. When you have that trunk that's.
Next time I want a bigger SUV so I can have more.
Yeah. I mean,
put more in there and help more. So. I feel so bad because there's so many potholes in this private road to deter people from using it.
Then it doesn't.
It was like bum 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 bum.
But you did great though. I mean, you couldn't feel much back there. She was pressed up against me, laying there. She heard the puppies. Everything was good. There was no issue whatsoever.
You and her were both comfortable back there?
It was fine. Yeah, she was fine. I was fine. The night being that the truck is nice and warm inside, that was nice.
And what's funny too about that whole situation is that our thermostat in our vehicle went out
during transport of the last.
Yes, and we did not get hot air into our cabin because this thermostat was letting too much antifreeze into our system, so we weren't able to get warm.
Yeah, it was always cool air.
It was already cold, always cool, very rare warm, and then if it was going to get warm, it took forever.
Right.
So here we are, all we're driving is from work to this place, and it's just only like a half a mile.
Yep.
And normally it would have been cold air. Well, it was warm. So just in the nick of time, because we just got that fixed the week prior.
Yep.
So just in the nick of time, we got enough heat in that cabin to keep Mama and baby warm. We get back to work, and we have dogs to groom, and taking puppies to a kennel is not the ideal thing to do.
Yeah.
But if it's take it to a kennel or run the risk of hypothermia,
yeah,
this is a better risk. So Miss Laura gets up and she starts cleaning. She cleans out this crate for us. She gets things ready for us, puts blankets down for the mama. She really, really helped a lot in that aspect. We got babies and mama inside a crate, inside a groom room, where there's less traffic of dogs. And we get them in there and she just lays down, feeds her babies.
And it was good.
And just kind of was like, whatever.
Yep.
She started growling at a few people. She didn't like Keith. She's very standoffish.
She's, in a sense, I wouldn't go with the word male aggressive, but very male timid, which, leads us to, what's the possible scenario of what happened to her. I mean, we hear about dogs being dumped a great deal. She could have been dumped for whatever reason, ended up pregnant, needed to find shelter.
And Craig said that dogs are dumped there all the time.
Yep.
And people will dump a dog that is pregnant because they don't want to deal with it.
Yep. So, there's many scenarios. I mean, the previous owner could have been abusive. You just don't know the situation. I mean, she's not female aggressive. She's good with Claire.
She's good with Claire. We're still watching it with her, but she is very territorial still.
Very territorial, but only to other animals.
Yeah, we brought her home, and at first we kept her in our laundry room because I didn't know what was going to happen. I don't know how she was going to react. I don't know how our dogs were going to react to those little puppies, because the puppies that we had prior, they were hefty. They were big.
And their eyes were open. They were able to at least move.
And they were able to take a
Yeah, and these
it was absolutely adorable how those ones. These ones are so small, they can't move very well.
Right.
And I don't know how everybody was going to react. So obviously you take it slowly.
Right.
And our dogs are so used to foreign dogs coming in and out of our house that Katana's like, "What's up?
Hi, welcome." She's almost kind of like the.
I'm your big foster sister.
She's like the concierge of dogs.
Yeah, she's
in
like,
our
well,
house.
This is this room.
Yep.
This is that room. That's my food bowl. That's Roxy's food bowl. You leave that one alone.
Yeah, definitely. I'll leave her alone. But yeah, it's funny.
This is my little human. Her name's Claire. But Katana's definitely the welcome wagon.
Yeah.
Roxy's more of a, what's this? Ooh, what's this?
Yeah, she's got the Jack Skellington kind of, what's this? What's this? It's covered everywhere kind of moment.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was a real hard thing. Now, I want to actually play this clip for you guys so you guys can hear these puppies. It is absolutely adorable. Claire, can you play the clip of the puppies? Now, in that recording, you can actually hear them. They're a little bit louder. Now, in the house, obviously, it's a lot quieter. Mm-hmm. So you kind of get an idea of what these guys sound like now, opposed to even, now is the day of even getting them. That recording was right away. It's quite amazing to think that another set of 9 lives have been saved.
Yep. Momma is extremely, well, I came up with the name Stella. And she just, to me, looks like a Stella. Now, she's a lot smaller than everybody thought she was. She is maybe 25 pounds right now, pushing 35 when fully, restored. But she's real tiny. She looks like she would be, if you took a beagle and a pit bull and mixed it together to me. That's what it looks like to me. Or even some kind of lab somewhere in there. But she is so tiny. She now is getting 3 meals a day.
3? Are you kidding? Yeah. Just in the video alone, you can see her eating one of the treats, the big kneecaps.
Kneecaps. I got her a kneecap. Yeah.
That's even in the YouTube.
I gotta check on that to make sure it's not too small.
She's been having a good thing. She's another thing that's really kind of nice is, she's used to being on her own. She's used to being in that house. So unfortunately, the housebroken is not entirely there. but
the
she's
problem
not
is
terrible.
she's got to keep going out because her system isn't regulated yet.
No.
For one, she's got a new mama bladder.
Yep.
And any woman out there who just had a baby knows that it is completely different for a while. So you gotta get used to it.
Right.
And that's her thing. She's just gotta get used to it. And then her stool's not right yet.
No, nothing's hardened. Everything's very soft.
But it's getting better. She's getting her 3 meals a day. She's getting canned food. She's getting puppy food. She's getting all the water she can drink. We even put out a 3rd water bowl for it, just in case our dogs drink a lot. She decides to drink a lot. She won't let anybody into the front room area where the crate is with the puppies.
Right.
Because we want to keep an eye on her, and we don't want her to feel excluded from the family either. Because if she's going to go to a foster, she needs to know that most fosters have other dogs, and most fosters have a lot going on. So this is a way that she can learn to get things handled, basically.
Right. We're acclimating her to being actually a house dog again.
She is my shadow.
She is.
I don't know why.
You were the first one to make contact. You know, like I said, you know, Katana was the same way. She made you master.
Yeah.
And that works. I mean, I've worked with her because of her male kind of shyness. That's the hard part.
You're tall, you have facial hair, you had sunglasses on. You know, there's
She
a
did
lot
growl at me, but she did growl at Craig.
Yeah. But I had sunglasses on, I had a bandana on. Some dogs don't like bandanas. But it just seems at that one instant where I put that lasso, or put the lead around her neck and I pulled on her, she just gave in.
Yep.
And she's been like that ever since. I get up to go do something, and she spends most of her time with her puppies, like a good mama does. She keeps sitting on them, though, and laying on them.
The last one did too.
And so I'm like, you're sitting on them. And so I'm pulling them out from underneath
She's really good about this, though. You can reach into the actual kennel and pick up the puppies, move the puppies, detach the puppies from her. Yeah. All the things that needs to be done, and she doesn't have a problem.
She trusted us almost instantaneously.
And she did the same thing that the last dog did. When she was in the truck, she did that very large sigh of relief.
Yeah, the exhale.
The very big, I mean, and it's so massive.
I just looked at her and said, you know what, Mama, the fight's over. You don't have to worry about where your food's coming from.
The hard part's still, you know, in front of her. One of the hard parts is going to be at the point when we do move her to a rescue, whether it's a rescue to another foster who can handle the capacity. That's going to be hard for her. It was hard for the last one, and now it's a 24-hour foster. So far, she's been here for 3 days. She's got at least another week with us.
I'm hoping to have at least another 2 weeks with her.
Yeah.
And that's 2 weeks of dragging her to work. But it's worth it. Next weekend, we have to, no matter what, keep her for a week.
Yes.
For legal purposes. And then after that, we have Easter. It's Easter weekend.
True.
So, not very many people are going to want to deal with a new foster.
It's just going to be, it gets challenging
the day
because
before Easter.
we have soccer coming up. I mean, our lives are always very busy as it is. It's going to get even busier.
But apparently, and see, what people need to understand is that apparently mama dogs and babies are the easiest dogs to place. Everybody loves puppies. And everybody loves a good sob story. Right. And you want to talk about a sob story, this is a sob story to talk about.
Yeah, there was nobody alerted to this.
Everyone at PCAWL said that at the PCAWL meeting.
I was going to bring that up just now.
The PCAWL meeting was Wednesday night, and that's when we got the babies, was Wednesday, right?
Right.
Okay. And you already let Jewel and everybody else know at PCAWL that we have these dogs. And I'm sitting there, and they're talking about the foster dog report. And they're like, we have no new foster dogs. And they look over at me, Sarah. And I'm like, what did I do?
Well, you just saved 9 lives.
And they're like looking at me, what's going on? Because not all of them know about it. I'm like, we just rescued a mama dog and her babies. I'm like, this is a literal rescue.
Yeah.
The other dog, the mom
That was
dogs,
organized.
That was organized, and they were never in any immediate danger.
Well, I would still say that
It was bitter cold.
There was bitter cold. There was definitely danger. There wouldn't have been anybody to pick that last one up until the next Tuesday. We had her on a Friday, a freezing Friday.
Yeah, freezing. Yeah.
A freezing Friday.
And those puppies were starting to walk around.
They were starting to walk. It was just as rules this. So coyotes, and here's the other part about this danger. Both situations were very similar. If a coyote wanted to come out there and get them, it was very easy for it to happen. Both scenarios. This is one of those things. I mean, when you stand back from all this, so far since January, we have 19 lives that we've saved. And that's
and
just
counting. 19 lives and counting.
19 lives and counting.
Get it?
I got it. So that's this podcast here. That's what it is. It's what we're doing outside of the microphone. That's what matters. We're not the ones, again, and I say this all the time, we're not the people that are saying go out there and make a difference and do nothing. No, we're the ones making the difference. And
lead by example.
And then we're the ones sharing it with all of you. So we'll keep you updated on the situation as it goes. We'll have a update next week for you. I'm pretty sure, like Sarah said, I don't think we'll be doing anything with them in the next 2 weeks. But oh my God, I'm just thinking soccer starting and it'll be after a game.
It'll be after a game. We'll drive out to Illinois or somewhere, or try to meet somebody close in the Kansas area, maybe in Columbia, and have them take it from Columbia to Kansas City.
We're not going to let transport do this. This is our transport for sure.
And what's great too, we've had amazing support from a lot of the folks from Shadowwood, the customers of Shadowwood. We had somebody ask, "Do we need anything?" No, right now, luckily, we've gotten we got food for the dog, and Keith said that he'll donate more. He already gave us a whole box of food that will get her through at least a week.
Somebody donated an actual leash.
Yeah, someone donated.
You bought a collar for the new dog.
That was my donation.
It had a collar already, but it was so disgusting.
Well, that's her old life.
Right.
This isn't her new life.
Right.
So I got her a really pretty pink collar on her beautiful black and white fur. She's mainly black. She kind of looks like a tuxedo cat.
They can see her in the album art. Okay. If you're watching YouTube, you've seen her. And on the YouTube, if you haven't noticed, if you didn't watch the YouTube one, no big deal. I did have photos at some point during the opening of this, showing different things, photos of the day. So
luckily we've had plenty of donations. The only thing that we might need a little bit later is monetary donations to get us from point A to point B.
Right.
But PCAWL said that they'll help with gas money and such.
Well, you are vice president.
Well, it has to be a majority vote.
Has to be led by example, darling.
Well, I feel weird being vice president and taking money from them.
Well, we're also doing the transport, so there's a great deal that goes in with it. I mean, again, my favorite person out there doing things like this is Doug, is my co-pilot, and the one thing that he always asks for is, if you want to help out, pay for gas, because fuel for a plane is expensive just as much. So these are the things. We're out there in the trenches. We're the ones that are actually trying to make the difference, and we're nowhere near Doug as my co-pilot,
right?
But we're at least trying. So this is how it is. Well, anything else you want to add on that?
No, I think we covered that part pretty thoroughly. I'm pretty sure we're like 50 million minutes into this already.
Probably. Well, by that sound, Claire has turned on the applause sign. So with that said, I am Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green. Make sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Claire.
Have a good day with your pets. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
And now the show is over now.